Hey guys, welcome back. So, have you purchased an AKV9 and thought to yourself, man, I wish this thing fired faster? Well, now there's an option for you, and it's the new AK trigger system from Fostech. It's called the Echo trigger. You've seen it before in rifles like the AR-15 or in pistols. And in this case, we have the new AK Echo trigger in a AKV9. This is the 9mm pistol with its SB Tactical side folding brace, and this is my new favorite NFA Nut Kicker. And so we're going to talk about this gun. It's really interesting why we chose this particular firearm to put this trigger system in. We'll talk a little bit about that here in this video, but also I just want you guys to see how incredibly cool this system really is in something brand new like the AK. We have some Federal 9mm 124 grain ball. This is sent to us by our friends over at Federal, and we want to thank them for supporting us here at the Military Arms Channel with the ammunition. It means a lot. And this is actually a PSA, Palmetto State Armory magazine. Now, of course, the AKV9 also uses Scorpion magazines, but right now we're going to use one of theirs. Let's go ahead and charge the pistol up, and right now it's on safe. Now, you'll notice that the selector lever that you would normally see is gone, and you have this new selector lever, and it has the correct position, so up is safe. All the way down is semi, and in the middle is echo. And it's marked by a safety mark there, 2 rounds, and then 1 round. All right, and we'll talk about one of the intricacies of the trigger system that you'll want to be aware of for safety purposes here in a moment. So we have a live round in the chamber. I'm going to go ahead and put it on semi and fire a couple shots here. That's just not fun enough, so I'm going to click it up 1 notch and check this out. Now, if that doesn't bring a smile to your face, guys, nothing will. I don't know if yeah, I got a couple more rounds in there, so that is just... All right, it locked open, but that is just absolutely insane how fast this thing fires, and that's one of the key reasons we chose to put this new trigger system in the AKV9. We would like to thank our friends at Big Daddy Unlimited for helping to make this and other videos possible. If you'd like to help us out, swing by the BDU website, and just for 99 cents, you can try out their service for 1 month. And they're basically like the Sam's Club of the online world. So check them out. If you would like to stay a member, go by militaryarms.org. There's a big link right at the top of the website, and you can stay a member for 20% off every month going forward. So please check them out. Over there is our challenge target plate rack. I'm going to engage each one of those targets in semi-automatic mode and see how fast I can knock them over. And then I'm going to have some fun in echo mode and see if it goes any faster. Okay, now you see I very easily put that weapon on safe with my index finger. It's actually easier to use than a standard AK safety lever. All right, we're hitting a little bit low. You know what? We're going to take this mag. It's partially empty, even though it's a 35-round magazine, only fired 6 rounds. I'm going to take my banana clip, put it in echo mode. It may not be any faster, but I can guarantee you it's going to be a heck of a lot more fun. See what I mean? Jeez, that's amazing. We've done videos talking about the AKV9 in the past, but what's important is the current generation of the AKV9 with some of the modifications that I helped them come up with in terms of pointing out some of the problems with the first generation guns are going to make it a little bit different when it comes to installing the Fostech Echo trigger into the gun. Now, any standard AK like this rifle, which we'll talk about in a separate video, it literally dropped right into this gun, no modifications required, okay? So with most AKM type rifles, you're not gonna have problems dropping the trigger in. If you do run into problems, you can ship that firearm to Fostech. They'll put the trigger in it for you. All you gotta do is cover the cost of shipping. So with this little gun, what's really cool about it is the very short throw that the bolt has. Think of a gun, a submachine gun like the MAC-10. It has a cyclic rate of over 1,000 rounds per minute. And the reason it can do that is because it has a very short travel on that bolt. So it cycles extremely fast. With the modifications they've made to this firearm, it increases or decreases the throw. So the original gun didn't have this aluminum spacer here. It had this rubber bumper back here against the rear of the recoil spring. And one of the problems I found with the early guns was the bolt would travel too far rearward and it could cause spent cases to fall into the trigger mechanism of the gun. Another problem the gun had was that it had a large opening because the bolt is so much smaller than a standard AKM bolt. When it came all the way back, spent cases could fall back into the action of the AKV9. So two things PSA did to remedy those problems. First, they put this aluminum piece in here, which shortened the throw of the bolt by a ½ inch or so. When the bolt comes all the way back, it stops travel right there. Before that, it would travel all the way back here and hit that rubber bumper. So by shortening that throw, that increases the gun's capability of having a higher cyclic rate, meaning it can shoot much faster. Now with the MAC bracket, when they put that in here, which is a U-shaped piece of sheet metal that was meant to prevent spent cases from falling back into the action, in this gun, we did have to do a little bit of Dremel work to remove part of that MAC bracket, but then the trigger mechanism itself, which is a complete unit like this, when it's dropped into the receiver, it fills those holes so spent cases cannot fall back into the action. So you're going to take a little bit of that material out and drop the trigger in. So the reason I chose this was because I knew that this gun had a very short throw on that bolt, a heavy spring, and it meant that this thing was going to run incredibly fast. Now the nice thing about the Echo trigger is that unlike some of the competitive products, if you pull the trigger too quickly, you'll get hammer follow and it causes a malfunction. You have to cycle the bolt to get the gun running again. Should I go too fast on this gun, which I don't think I can at this point, but should I go too fast with this gun, it'll just slow the cadence down. Instead of firing on the pull and release, it'll just fire on one or the other. It won't go bop, bop, 2 shots, it'll just get 1 shot. So you go bop, 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 pop, 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 if you start to pull the trigger too quickly. But like I said, this gun cycles so stinking fast, it's not really a problem for me in my fast trigger finger. But when you're putting it in other rifles like the AR, or especially with rifles like this, the standard AK, this, when we get into the video about the AKM, we have such a long throw on the bolt and it has so far to travel. Even the fully automatic versions of this have cyclic rates right around 650 rounds per minute. That's because that's as fast as the bolt carrier group can move, given the weight and the distance it has to travel. So this gun will fire much slower than this thing, which if it were an actual machine gun would probably have a cyclic rate well over 1,000 rounds per minute. So great host for the Fostech Echo trigger system on the AK. So I've been shooting Echo triggers for a number of years, mostly in AR-15s, and I found them to be robust and reliable. And they're not just novelties. So if you have a defensive firearm like this AKV9, and you want to put an Echo trigger in it, it actually has practical application. It can deliver 2 quick shots onto target very effectively. So I'm going to put it in Echo mode, and I have my challenge target. It's about 15 yards away, and I can quickly pull it up and get 2 rounds on target, keeping in mind pulling the trigger all the way to the rear and then releasing it will fire 2 rounds. You want to make sure you pull the trigger all the way to the rear though, because if you don't pull it all the way to the rear, it just won't reset. It'll still fire, but it won't fire that second round when you release the trigger. So pull it all the way to the rear, release it completely, pull it all the way to the rear. All right, so a couple of double pairs onto the challenge target, and I'll show you how effective it can be. I think I broke something. All right, can't really feel this gun lock open. I just saw the bolt lock to the rear. So again, for those pairs, it's very, very easy to put 2 rounds on target. And when you're talking about a round like 9mm, 2 rounds hitting quickly is quite devastating. So it would put an assailant down or a bad guy down very, very quickly. So not just a novelty, it's also something that you may want to consider in a self-defense weapon like this. So I know what you guys are going to ask me. Does it take Glock magazines? Well, no, it takes Scorpion magazines or the PSA 35 round magazines like I have here. Does it 80s hip fire? I can only imagine how much fun that is. If that doesn't get the police to your property, nothing will. All right, let's see what kind of work we can get done in echo mode on the dual Texas Star from Challenge Targets here. Oh no, one left. That was much more fun than just regular semi-automatic mode. When you put the echo trigger into your AKM, it does not require any permanent modifications to the firearm. I already broke down for you what you must do to the AKV9. It's unique because of that MAC bracket that's in there to prevent malfunctions with this particular firearm. Most AKMs, it's going to drop right into the gun with no problems and no extra fitting or permanent modifications to the firearm. If you look on the right-hand side of the receiver here, you'll notice your little selector group. The safety lever is gone, and it's replaced by this fire control group. This is held in place by two screws, which screw into the replacement trigger pins that hold the trigger assembly in the receiver. So again, no permanent modifications. The other thing that's really cool is the order of fire is maintained. So on a fully automatic AK, you would normally have up as safe, all the way down as semi, and a conscious effort back up to fully automatic, or in this case, echo mode. So let's talk about echo mode. Most of you guys watching this are already familiar with my Nut Kicker videos. This echo mode is a fire on pull and release trigger system. So that's how we get that fast cadence of fire. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, the chamber around, I'm going to put it into echo mode, which is the middle position. And when I pull that trigger, it fires one round. But when I release the trigger, it fires a second round. So you can fire pairs very quickly. All right, and then just to get that full auto sounding cadence, you just keep doing that over and over again. And that gives you that really fast fire. Now, let's make sure I got enough rounds. I do. Let's say that I fire one shot. I don't want that second shot to fire. Like this. Hold that trigger to the rear. It's safe as long as you do. Do not pull it up into the safe position. If you pull hard enough, you'll break the trigger mechanism. Push it down to the semi-automatic mode, and then you can safely release the trigger. And from there, you can put it on safe. And of course you can do that, which is just entirely too much fun. This gun is so hot right now, I'm trying to find some place to comfortably hold it. This afternoon, we've put a case of ammunition through it. We've had no failures of any kind. The only failures that I would encounter would be when I would pull the trigger too fast, or not completely pull the trigger to the rear, which isn't a failure because the gun will continue to fire. So it's just an absolutely amazing system. It works incredibly well in the AKV9. The price of the trigger system is $547 for the AKM. So if you have an AKV9, if you're even slightly skilled with the Dremel tool, putting this thing in is well worth the investment. It totally changes the dynamic of this AKV9. Now we have also installed the trigger into a standard 7.62x39 AK, which we'll feature in another video. We just wanted to show you this one by itself because it warrants its own video. It's that cool. All right, guys, if you have any questions, ask those questions down below. Please like and share this video, and also comment down below and subscribe, because that really does help us here at the YouTube algorithms. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel, swing by Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Click that link and consider becoming part of our Patreon family. Also, right here underneath the video player, there's a little join button. Click that join button and consider supporting us here right here on YouTube, because we've been demonetized like so many other channels. And last but not least, check out coppercustom.com. All right, guys, thanks for 12 years of support. Got my last banana clip. I got to get the nomenclature right, and we're going to walk this baby out in echo mode, see if we can't set her on fire. Thanks for watching, guys. Flawless function. So much fun. I like this gun even more now. Perfect.